Well, hi everybody. It's good to see everybody, and it's good to be in the 6th Congressional District of Michigan. Yes. Oh, someone who tells the truth, he doesn't like, how you all tell me I'm too intense and passionate. We have a little one who put his hands on his ears. Um, I really want to, it's great to be in the 6th District, and I really want to, I have to be respectful and call you Mr. President, even though, but Joe and Jill have been friends of John and mine for more than a long, long time. I don't even want to tell you how long it's been. They got married when John and I got married. And we have been through the thick and thin of life. And he and Jill were there when John almost died. When I got sworn in and John couldn't be there, they came so I'd have family when I got sworn into Congress. And when John died, Joe Biden was there at my side and never let me be alone. So this is my friend. And I have to tell you that. I know this man. And you're in the 6th District to the press. You're in the 6th District of Michigan. And we have more Democratic votes in Michigan than any other congressional district. And I see the mayor of Northville. You have a lot of the legislators, the mayors, the city councils. And you all know me. I'm not afraid to yell at you. Someone said I sounded whatever today. And I said I'm feisty. You know that. Michigan's a purple state. We know how to deliver. We're going to do the work. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We are going to talk to every single voter in this state. And the 6th District of Michigan will turn out the votes like we've got to. And Mr. President, I love you. I'm glad to see you are able to meet a lot of our workers. And by the way, Northville used to be red. I don't even know where Matt is. We have a state rep. There you are, Matt Colzar. Turned a red seat to blue. We got other frontliners here. Haley, when I just picked up Northville. I love Northville. They think I am here too much. That's the mayor. I wander the streets with them all the time. But if Haley flipped this, and you saw the crowds when you came in. So we're going to do the work we got to do, and welcome to the 6th Congressional District in Northville.
I don't want to ruin her reputation, but lately, seriously, when she and I are together, she looks like my wife Jill, and they go, "Are you married?" I say, "Yeah," but I don't tell them who. Anyway, thank you. You all need this like another hole in your head on a beautiful day like this to come in to say hi, and I can't thank you enough. And you kids who had to get dressed up, I owe you big. We owe you big. Everybody knows I like kids better than people. Look, folks, there's a lot going on. We're here to have a rally a little bit later on. But, John and the Congresswoman and I got involved for the same reason. I come from a family that we weren't poor, but we were just a basic middle-class family. 3-bedroom split-level home and a development of 45 homes, all the same, and 4 kids, and a grandpa living with us. And we were fine. But my dad used to say, "Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, 'Honey, it's going to be okay,' and mean it." And that's what it's all about. You may recall, and I'm not going to make this long, I promise you. The reason I decided to run back, my son died in 2015. He was a Bronze Star, Conspicuous Service Medal, spent a year in Iraq, volunteered to go with his unit when it went. He was the Attorney General of the state of Delaware. And so I decided I wasn't going to get engaged in public. I wasn't going to run again. I had been vice president. I was a professor, a full professor at the University of Pennsylvania at the time. And what happened was that I was going to stay out of it. But then what happened was, remember down in Charlottesville, Virginia, when those folks came out of the woods carrying torches and Nazi banners and literally singing the same same song sung in Germany in the 30s. And a young woman was killed who was a bystander. And that young woman I talked to the mother. And the press contacted Trump and asked him, they said, "Well, what do you think?" He said, "There were very good people on both sides, very good people." And honest to God, that's when I decided to run. That's when I decided to run. And because, folks, there's a lot at stake. And I'll end it with this. You know, there's probably every 5 or 6 generations we reach an inflection point in history where what happens in the near term is going to determine what the next 4 or 5 decades look like. The post-war period's over. And look around the world. I just got finished having, you may have seen on television, the dealing with NATO and all the foreign heads of state, 32 of them here for 4 days. And, you know, whether it's climate change, whether it's, anyway, I won't go through it all, but there's a lot changing. Not because of Joe Biden being president, but just a time of significant movement. And what happens in the next several years is going to determine what the next several decades look like. I mean, for real, not a joke. We're either going to step up and do something about the environment. We're going to either make sure that middle-class folks have a fighting chance to make it. We're going to either decide we're going to provide health care for people who need it. We have to, and I think when Debbie and I, this last 3 years, I think we've made a lot of progress. We made a lot of progress. Remember, everybody, hi, how are you? How old are you? Remember, no serious guys till you're 30, okay? Told that to my daughter and granddaughter. Hadn't worked yet, but I'm working on it. But anyway, the whole notion here is that they told us when I ran, and I'll end this, I ran in 2020 saying I ran for 3 reasons. And you may remember I got roundly criticized. One was that I thought it was time to restore some ethics to the politics, to, you know, restore the soul of the country. We're a good, decent people. The American people are good, decent, honorable people. But the way things were going, just the way we talk to one another in politics anymore, the way things have become so polarized. And I said the second reason I was running was to deal with the issue of giving the middle class a fighting chance. Like I said earlier, I come from one of those families. We weren't poor, but there was never anything left over at the end of the month. And, you know, the idea that the trickle-down economics, and I look, if you can go make $1 million, make $1 million. You make it 500 million, make it. Just pay your fair share as you go along. Just pay your taxes. Just pay a fair share. And so I decided I was going to end the trickle-down economics where, you know, if the wealthy do well, everybody else does well. That not a lot trickled down to my dad's kitchen table. And so I decided we're going to build the economy from the middle out and the bottom up. And that way the wealthy still do very well. I made a commitment that offended a lot of Democrats. I said, no, I will not raise tax on anybody making less than $400,000, so I couldn't be accused of not wanting people to be able to make money. And that's what we've done. Not a single penny of tax has been raised by anybody making under $400,000. But in the meantime, what's happened? We've grown the middle class. We've created 800,000 manufacturing jobs, 1.6 million new jobs, more than any president has in American history in that period of time. We've moved our... Well, thank you. But the other thing we've done is we provided health care shouldn't be an option. You know, I was able to change the Affordable Care Act and another 800,000 people. Anyway, access to insurance, access to health care. And the last thing I said, which I really got clobbered by the press, as you recall, and they're good folks. They just thought I was naive, even though I'd been around 270 years. I said, you know, we got to bring the country together. Because when I left the Senate, I was honored. You know, they do this ceremony. I was vice president. I left, and they vote and say nice things about you. One of the things said was that I was able to get more done than anybody in the Senate because I had relations with Democrats and Republicans. I crossed the aisle. And so I said, we got to bring the country together. They said, that's naive. That used to be the case when Biden was a senator, but he can't do it anymore. Well, guess what, folks? We're the most diverse country in the world. Not a joke. We're the most unique country in the world. Every other country is organized based on either ethnicity, geography, religion. But we're the only country based on an idea. Not a joke, an idea. Only country in history. And the idea was we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, etc. We've never lived up to it. We've never fully walked away from it. But what I realized was the other guy was walking away from it, walking away from it. And so we ran, and we were told we were going to lose in 2020, remember? Well, we won. They told we were going to have, because of you. Because of you. And by the way, we're also told that what was going to happen is there was no possibility of being able to get bipartisan legislation passed. You know, remember Trump used to always talk about what he's going to do in terms of the whole idea of building bridges, roads, internet, and he had infrastructure month every month. He didn't build a thing. But look what we're doing. How can you be the most powerful country in the world and have bridges that don't work, highways that don't work? People, look, the internet is as consequential to most people as the telephone used to be 50 years ago. And so the point is that we're able to put it together. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic. We've done, I'm going to say something that's going to sound awful. The press is here, so I'm going to say it in front of them. I think most of the political historians say I've gotten more done than most presidents have since Franklin Roosevelt in terms of fundamental changes. And by the way, in the process, all this is going on, we saved money. We lowered the debts. We gave people more jobs. It didn't do any of the things. Remember it was going to be this hard landing, nothing was going to happen? Well, guess what? I was worried today, the Wall Street Journal talks about how Wall Street Journal economists think I am better than Trump in terms of the economy. That's worrisome to me. But all kidding aside, think about it. Because when you give people a fighting chance, everybody does better. Not a joke. And the last example I'll give you is I've been fighting for years, taking on big pharma. And I can put you in Air Force One with me as we flew up in, and if you have a prescription by an American drug company, I can fly you to Toronto or to Berlin or to London or to Rome, get you the same exact prescription from the same exact company for somewhere between 40 and 60% less. For example, I was able to reduce the price of insulin for people who have serious problems they need on a regular basis from $400 a month to $35 a month. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. The reason I was able to do that, guess what? The fact of the matter is they still make 350% profit. It costs them $10 to make it. It costs them $10 to make it. And so my point is, what that did was everybody said, Biden, you know, this big liberal, you know, is it going to cost us money? Guess what? It saved you, the taxpayer, $1.7 billion. Thank you. And somebody, no, I'm serious. Because Medicare didn't have to pay these prices, they can negotiate it. My generic point is that all the stuff we'd like, for example, I make no apologies. I'm the most pro-labor president in American history. I mean, factually, I know how to say the word union. But here's the deal. I had the Treasury Department do a study with an increase in union membership at the contracts. Like I know I got a lot of criticism because I walked the picket line with UAW. The only president ever's done that. Well, guess what? What happened is I asked them to do a study. What's the impact on the rest of the workers in America? Everybody does better. Everybody, no, I'm serious. Got over $50 billion in investment from chips manufacturers. We invented those chips, everything from a telephone to a rocket. And guess what? They're all somewhere else. They exported those jobs because they got cheaper labor, and we have what they call anyway. So I went to South Korea to get them to come back, and guess what? We got all these companies to come back, not come back, reinvest in America. I asked Samsung why are they going to invest $20 billion in Western Pennsylvania, and they said simple reason. One, you have the safest place in the world to invest, and two, you have the best workers in the world. Everybody thinks, you know, you show up and you want to be an electrician. You say, I want to be an electrician. You get like 5 years apprenticeship. It's like going back to college. My generic point is, I'm convinced to give people a chance. Give people a chance. Everybody's, no guarantees, just a chance. And that's what we've done. And that's why I'm running in to finish this job. There's more to do. I know I'm only 41. God love you. You're like my sister. Anyway, but folks, this is an important moment, and I hope you. As I used to always, when I finished I got elected. For the longest time, I was too young because I was the second youngest man ever elected to the United States Senate, and anyway, and now I'm too old. But I know, hopefully, with a little bit of age comes a little bit of wisdom. And I hopefully that in this moment, I think the alternative is not much of an alternative. And I do think ethics matter. I do think decency matters. I do think we should reflect with the American. We're an optimistic, we're a decent, we're an honorable country. And I give you my word, last thing I'll say, I have never been more optimistic about America's possibilities than I am today. Every one of those foreign leaders you saw on television with 32 members of NATO, I'm going to say something outrageous. I'm the guy that pulled NATO together. I was able to expand it. Every time I leave them, they go, you gotta win. Because the other guy says, anyway. But we have real opportunities, And so we got to finish the job, and I promise you, I'm okay. Thank you.
Walk around the table and take this higher.
Is that okay?